Throughout his whole career, Anthony Davis has been an unstoppable force. The 25-year-old superstar is widely known as the best big man in basketball, with an uncanny ability to be a ball handler, three-point shooter, and an absolute monster on the board. The question still remains, however, why does all this talent not yield success for the Pelicans? With the Pelicans having Davis under contract through the 2020 season, with a player option for the 2021 season, the decision that Pelicans GM Dell Demps needs to make is, should Anthony Davis be traded? After drafting him with the first overall pick in the 2012 NBA draft, the Pelicans have never quite gotten to the spot they want to be. After only making the playoffs a total of 2 of Davis's 6 years in the NBA, the franchise is one of the best young big men of all time should look to trade him. Acquiring Davis, however, will be no easy task. The two current frontrunners to land him are the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers, with the rumors milling around both teams. Both teams have a treasure trove of assets they should not hesitate to move for a player of Davis's caliber. Before we dive into what the Celtics and Lakers should offer the Pelicans a potential deal for Anthony Davis, we have to ask ourselves, why would the Pelicans want to trade a bona fide superstar and top 5 player in the world? Well, the answer is simple, really. Currently sitting in 11th in the Western Conference with a record of 14-15, the Pelicans' playoff potential hopes seem to be closing sooner rather than later. Trading Davis this summer guarantees you that he does not walk for nothing when he undoubtedly will decline his $28 million player option for the 2020-2021 NBA season. Trading him now also gives you control. If you look to move him last minute at the deadline of the 2019-2020 NBA season, the Pelicans end up with almost no control of what they get for Davis. If the Pelicans were to potentially trade him at the deadline of this season, which would have to be the Lakers, not the Celtics because of the Rose rule, screw the CBA, or even this summer potentially the Celtics, the Pelicans would have potentially so much more control over what sort of value they get for their superstar. By completing this trade, it also won't ensure the Pelicans another 10 plus years of mediocrity. With almost no real shot of letting another star to play besides Davis because of cap space issues, the best asset they do have, obviously Davis, is really their only chance of not being the NBA's best team that ever was. With players like Jrue Holiday signed to massive contracts and almost seem untradeable at this point, and salary cap hell with Solomon Hill and E'Twaun Moore, the best move for the Pelicans would be to blow it all up. Hindsight is 2020, and maybe making this trade will be the worst move in the history of the franchise, but as a Pelicans fan, would you rather sit here wondering, what if we traded Anthony Davis? Could we really turn this franchise into a winning one? All questions can only be answered in one way. That, of course, being trading Anthony Davis. Now that the hard part is over of why the Pelicans really should trade their 25-year-old quintessential superstar, the question remains, how much value can Pelicans GM Dell Demps try to get? To be honest, I don't know if there's a player on either the Celtics or Lakers roster that could not be available for Demps to try to trade for. I mean, that, of course, excluding LeBron James, clearly. The main thing that Demps should try to be trading for in any potential package for Davis should be both young players and future draft picks, which of course goes without saying. So let's just start with the Celtics because their franchise currently owns 2 potential top 10 picks in the 2019 NBA draft, and with prospects such as Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, Bol Bol, Cam Reddish, and Nasir Little, the Pelicans should undoubtedly be looking to get at least one of those picks for Davis. Along with the picks, the Celtics also have a ton of young potential stars. With players such as Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, and Robert Williams, the Pelicans should definitely be looking to get as many of them as possible. Again, this isn't 2K, so clearly getting all 5 of those guys and 2 potential top 10 picks for one player is not going to happen. But realistically, at least 2 or 3 of them should be in the mix. I would say the most realistic player for the Pelicans to land from the Celtics would be Jaylen Brown. Brown is currently 22 years old and has all the potential in the world. Currently in the 3rd year of his rookie deal, the Pelicans would be getting a young potential star who they would not have to pay max money to right off the bat. They would get a season of him on his rookie deal, then decide if he's really worth star money. The obvious hope for the Pelicans would be to get 20-year-old Jason Tatum, who has been almost unreal for the Celtics at this point so far into his short career. But that's far less likely because, again, he is almost untouchable. But, again, if the Celtics want Davis and Tatum is the only way of getting him, Danny Ainge might have to pull the trigger on that trade. I think the most likely scenario would be a package of Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Marcus Morris, who would have to be included again to make the money work, and Robert Williams, along with the Kings or Grizzlies pick, which both have top 10 potential. Now we ask ourselves the obvious question of why in the world would the Pelicans trade a 25-year-old superstar for a bunch of potential stars and some prospects? The simple answer really is because it's the best offer they are going to get, and when you look at their current situation right now, it comes down to, would you rather be a 500 team for the next 2 years, winning absolutely nothing and possibly not even making the playoffs, and then letting your once-in-a-lifetime superstar walk away for nothing? Or would you rather take the risk of starting your rebuild early, but this time, do it with so many assets that at least one, if not all, should turn into potential all-star players? This would be a very smart move for the Pelicans, as there really is not much risk as it may seem. What's the worst thing that can happen? You trade Anthony Davis and he's gone, and your team turns into mediocrity, possibly even worse. And then you have to start your rebuild. You're left in the exact same place you would be as if when he goes and signs with a new team when he becomes a free agent, which is undoubtedly going to happen if you continue this path. Now, I still think a potential trade with the Lakers would also be a great fit for both sides. On the Pelicans side of this, you can look at it as, sure, why would you want to trade Davis to a potential future rival in the same conference? But at the same time, if the Lakers offer you the best trade package, then it would be really stupid not to take it. Let's go over what the Lakers could potentially offer the Pelicans in any sort of trade scenario. Assuming LeBron James is off the table, which he is, not really sure why I felt the need to mention that, the Pelicans should be looking to get young, cheap players that have the most potential. Players like Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Josh Hart should all be available in any sort of trade for Anthony Davis. Lakers president of basketball operations Magic Johnson and general manager, Rob Pelinka have already said that Lonzo Ball is off the table in any trade. But at the end of the day, are you really not going to trade some 21-year-old kid who really still can't even hit an open three-pointer for a once-in-a-lifetime superstar like Anthony Davis? I think the clear answer here should be no, and Lakers fans should be on board with giving up Lonzo in any trade for Davis. A realistic package for this potential move would be something along the lines of Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, and Mo Wagner, along with at least one first-round pick and maybe even more. Any trade involving Anthony Davis is a huge risk for the Pelicans, but there is also a risk for the team that gets him in return. Davis will still be a free agent after the 2020 season, and if he is not satisfied with the team he is traded to, you can bet your money he's packing his bags and going somewhere else. And then what are you left with? You've just mortgaged your franchise for 1 year of Anthony Davis and still most likely didn't beat the Warriors. The risk is 100% worth it for any team that trades for him, though. The Celtics didn't trade for Kyrie Irving to try to win in the future. They want to win now. And trading young assets for a superstar like Davis is the best way to do that. The Lakers didn't pay LeBron James $154 million to get their franchise to the playoffs and just stop there. They both want to win championships right now, and storing up young potential talent for the future is not the way to win right now. If the Celtics and Lakers want to compete for a championship as soon as possible, they both need to have their main focus this summer on acquiring Anthony Davis, no matter what the cost is. The 25-year-old superstar is currently averaging 27.4 points per game, 12.2 rebounds, and almost 5 assists, all while shooting over 50% from the field and almost 31% from three. Players like this are once-in-a-generational talents, and every single NBA team should be doing everything they can and packaging up all the assets to make a run at this NBA unicorn. So now that we have the logistics out of the way, I'm sure many of you are sitting here and saying, oh, of course the Celtics fan wants the Celtics to go ahead and trade Anthony Davis, and of course he's going to make it seem reasonable that the Pelicans should trade him. Well, yeah, obviously I'm going to do that, but thinking about this realistically from both sides, I think it truly does make sense. And this is the part of the video where this isn't scripted. This is just kind of me giving you my thoughts. I think personally that Anthony Davis is, again, a once-in-a-generational talent. There is no player like him in the NBA right now. Nothing like him. No young player compares to him. Nobody has really the potential of him. He's once in a lifetime. Why would the Pelicans want to trade him? I honestly really can't tell you. The reasons I gave you are all really speculation from articles I've read, stuff like that. They very well could end up keeping him. They very well could end up signing a superstar, blowing their whole team up, and winning the next 10 championships. Will that happen? Not in a million years, but it very well could. So, again, my perspective on this is pretty clear. I think Anthony Davis should be traded. I'm not even saying he has to be traded to the Celtics. I literally mentioned the Lakers. I'm sure there are many other teams. I'm sure you can leave them down below in the comment section. But still, why sit at 500 for the next however many years, not winning anything, sitting in salary cap hell, just sitting there wondering what in the world are we doing? I know it's the hardest thing in the world to do, to try to trade a superstar. So many teams have done it. So many teams have done it. The Pacers traded Paul George. The Spurs traded Kawhi Leonard. The Cavs traded Kyrie Irving. All of which didn't 1000% work out for both sides, but let's look at it like this. The Cavs suck. That was going to happen. LeBron was leaving pretty much no matter what. Maybe if Kyrie stayed, LeBron stayed, but nobody wants to be playing without LeBron James, and the thought of him leaving would have left Kyrie in an absolute hellhole situation in Cleveland by himself. He requested to be out of there. He was traded to the Celtics. He's in a perfect situation right now that he loves. The Cavs are in a rebuild right now. They have young players like Colin Sexton, Chetty Osman. They still have Kevin Love, who's a very, very serviceable player, even though I think he should be traded instantly. And again, I'll probably end up making a video like that. You look at a team like the Pacers. Got Victor Oladipo for Paul George. Everybody thought it was trade overkill by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Nobody thought Victor Oladipo had any potential. Look at him now. He's one of the best young players in the NBA. Many think he's a top 3 shooting guard in the NBA. Many think he's better than Paul George, which is just even more insane, but still, that's a discussion for a whole nother time. But what I'm basically trying to say is you got to look at this trade from both sides. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and trading Anthony Davis now does not mean that you were going to sit as a 500 team for the next possible 10 years, 10 to 15 years. Who knows how long Anthony Davis will play? All I'm saying, look at the facts. Time is going to come when you realize Anthony Davis can't win a championship by himself, especially with teams like the Warriors in the NBA. You need to move him. You need to get young assets. You need to maximize his value, and letting him go for nothing in free agency is not the way to do that. So thank you guys so much for listening to my first Let's Talk NBA video. Again, this is going to be a new series where I basically just give my opinions on the NBA, stuff that should happen, rumors going around the NBA, different drama scenarios, stuff like that. So if you guys have anything you want to hear me talk about for episode 2, feel free to leave it down below in the comment section. I'm imagining this video is going to do well, so if it does, I cannot thank you guys so much for all the support. I worked pretty hard on this video. It's taken me like 3 days to write the script and another couple days to edit it, produce it, and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave any other comments and any other topics you want me to talk about for Let's Talk NBA episode 2 down below in the comment section. Cannot thank you guys for all the support lately. My channel has been blooming. Wow, what a time to be alive, man. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.